Long ago, humans were one of the most powerful species in the galaxy. Their planet, Earth, was a vibrant place, full of life and advanced technology. Their cities were massive, their machines were powerful, and their ships could travel between the stars. They were a young race, but they had already mastered many things others could only dream of. Then one day, without any warning, humans disappeared. No one knew why. No one knew where they went. One moment, Earth was buzzing with life, and the next, it was completely silent. All communications from Earth stopped. The great cities were abandoned, the ships left floating in space, and the people were simply gone. The galaxy was left in shock. What had happened? Some believed that a terrible disaster had wiped them out. Others thought they had fled, leaving their home behind for reasons no one could understand. And still, others thought humans had just disappeared into the stars, choosing to explore the galaxy in a way no one else could. For years, the galaxy searched for answers, but no one could find any. Records of Earth's civilization were scattered, but no clear answer was ever found. The humans were gone, and nothing seemed to explain it. As time passed, people across the galaxy slowly forgot about Earth. Earth became just another myth, a legend told in hushed tones. It was a place no one could remember clearly, and its once advanced fleet of ships was believed to be nothing more than ancient junk. Over the centuries, records of Earth faded into obscurity, and the humans who once ruled the stars became nothing more than a story, a warning of a civilization that had risen and fallen. The Galactic Council, made up of the galaxy's most powerful alien races, paid little attention to Earth. They had their own problems, their own conflicts, and their own history to deal with. Earth was just another forgotten world, lost to time. The Council's fleets moved on, exploring new planets and discovering new civilizations. They believed Earth was a ghost planet, its people gone for good. But Earth still held a secret. Deep within its atmosphere, buried under the forgotten ruins, something was waiting. Something that no one had ever seen before. Over 500,000 years after humanity's disappearance, a new generation of explorers set out on a mission to map the galaxy. The Galactic Council had grown stronger, more united, and curious about ancient history. Among the planets they chose to explore, Earth was at the top of the list. They had heard rumors, whispers from old star maps that told of a once great civilization that had vanished. Curious, they decided to take a look. The Council's fleet was massive, filled with soldiers, scientists, and explorers from across the stars. They landed on Earth with high hopes, expecting to find only ruins. They expected to find the remains of a great but long-gone race. They thought they would find only memories of what had once been. What they found was something else entirely. The first thing they noticed was the silence. The planet was eerily quiet, the air still and calm. No signs of life, no movement, only the forgotten structures of Earth's past. The ships they expected to see were not broken or rusty. In fact, they were almost too well preserved. The buildings, the cities, the machines, they all seemed frozen in time. But there was something strange about them. As the alien explorers ventured deeper into the heart of Earth, they discovered the truth. The ships that humans had left behind were not junk. They were alive, not in the way that living creatures are alive, but in the way that machines can be when they are cared for and maintained. The technology was ancient, yes, but it wasn't outdated. It was still functional, still ready for action. The fleet that had once belonged to humans was still waiting, still capable of performing at its peak. The alien explorers were both confused and amazed. How could this be? Earth was supposed to be a forgotten, dead planet. But instead, it was holding a secret no one had expected. The ships were not just ships. They were time capsules, filled with the technology and power that had once made humans great. And then came the biggest surprise of all. The explorers found something else on Earth, something they hadn't expected. Hidden in the shadows of the cities, in the quiet places where no one had thought to look, were humans, or at least humans who had descended from the ones who vanished. They had been hiding on Earth for centuries, waiting for the right moment to emerge. These humans had learned to survive in the shadows, to live without being noticed by the rest of the galaxy. They had never left Earth, and now they were ready to make their presence known again. But the aliens didn't know that yet. They didn't understand what they were facing. They still believed Earth to be a place of forgotten history, a dead world with nothing left to offer. The truth, however, was far from what they imagined. Earth had not been forgotten. It had not been abandoned. It had simply been waiting. And now, the galaxy was about to find out just what humans had left behind. The Galactic Council was a powerful group made up of the most advanced alien races in the galaxy. They had seen many worlds, many civilizations, and many strange things. But Earth, the long-lost home of humanity, had always been just a myth, a place no one spoke of anymore. Its people were gone, and its ships were thought to be nothing more than relics of a forgotten past. Earth was no longer on anyone's radar. But that was about to change. One day, the Council decided to launch an exploration mission to study the oldest records of the galaxy. Among the many planets they planned to visit was Earth. It was a world mentioned only in the oldest maps, maps long thought to be nothing more than fairy tales. Still, there was something about Earth that intrigued them. The records, although vague, hinted at an advanced civilization that had once ruled the stars. What had happened to them? Why had they vanished? A fleet of council ships set off toward Earth, filled with scientists, historians, and explorers eager to uncover the truth. They expected to find nothing more than ruins and dust, empty cities, and long-forgotten technology. After all, Earth had been silent for over 500,000 years. Surely there was nothing left to discover. As the fleet entered Earth's orbit, the first thing they noticed was the stillness. The planet was eerily quiet, as if it were holding its breath. No signs of life, no ships moving in space, no signals. It was almost as if the planet itself was waiting. The council ships hovered in silence, wondering what to expect. The atmosphere was thick with mystery. When the landing party finally set foot on Earth, the silence was even more intense. The cities were enormous, their buildings towering high into the sky. But the streets were empty. There was no sound of movement, no signs of life. The ground was covered in thick vegetation, creeping up around the ancient structures. It was as if nature had taken over, reclaiming what had once been a bustling world. The alien explorers stood in awe, their eyes wide as they looked around. What struck them the most was how intact everything was. These cities, abandoned for centuries, seemed perfectly preserved. The technology left behind appeared old, yet it was not broken. The ships, once thought to be worthless relics, were still in place, lined up as if they were ready for use. Some of the alien explorers felt a strange sense of unease. It was as if the planet was frozen in time, waiting for something or someone. The explorers moved cautiously through the abandoned streets, scanning the area with their advanced technology. They found old records, computers, and data storage devices that told stories of Earth's past. The records mentioned humans, their achievements, and their fleet, but they offered no explanation for what had happened to them. They were a mystery, like a puzzle with pieces scattered all across the galaxy. The explorers discovered more as they searched the cities. What looked like ancient battle stations were still operational. Weapons systems, once thought to be long deactivated, hummed quietly in the background. The ships, too, were not rusting or decaying. They were still in pristine condition, as if ready to be launched at any moment. It was at that moment that the lead explorer made a shocking discovery. While scanning one of the ships, a faint signal appeared on his screen. It was weak, almost undetectable, but it was there. The signal was coming from deep inside the planet, from somewhere beneath the surface. The Council ships had scanned Earth's surface many times, and no life signs had been detected. How could this be? The lead explorer contacted the rest of the fleet, and they quickly set up a team to investigate. The deeper they dug into the planet, the more they realized how little they knew. There were structures buried beneath the soil, hidden bunkers, underground cities, and enormous storage facilities. It was clear that the humans who had once lived here had been preparing for something. But what? As they explored further, they found more evidence of the humans' technology. Advanced machines, weapons, and tools that were far ahead of anything the Council had ever seen. The alien explorers couldn't understand how such advanced technology could exist so long ago. They had always believed that Earth's technology was primitive, that it was no match for the civilizations that had come after it. But they were wrong. Earth's technology was not only still functioning, it was more powerful than most of the galaxy's current fleets. Suddenly, the Council's scientists began to worry. Could it be that humans had left something behind? Something so powerful that it could change the balance of power in the galaxy? Were they still alive, somewhere, waiting for the right moment to return? The more they discovered, the more questions they had. The truth seemed just out of reach, hiding behind the mystery of Earth's disappearance. The Council had not expected this. They had thought Earth was just another dead planet, another forgotten corner of the galaxy. But now, they realized they were facing something much bigger, something far more dangerous. The planet's silence wasn't just the absence of life, it was the calm before the storm. And the Council was about to find out that Earth had never truly been forgotten. It had simply been waiting for the moment when it would reawaken, and the galaxy would once again know the power of humanity. As the Galactic Council continued their search across Earth, they started to uncover more and more secrets. The planet, silent for so long, held something far beyond what they could have imagined. Hidden beneath layers of dust and forgotten technology, Earth's fleet was not the dead relics they had expected. No, it was something far more powerful, and it was about to come alive. The alien explorers had discovered the first signs of life on Earth beneath the surface. They had uncovered ancient underground cities, weapons, and technology far beyond anything they had ever seen. But that was only the beginning. As the team dug deeper into the heart of the planet, they began to notice strange energy readings. At first, the readings were weak, faint, almost impossible to detect. But with every passing hour, the signals grew stronger, more intense. Something was happening. The explorers gathered around their monitors, watching in disbelief as the readings spiked. The machines they had thought were dormant for thousands of years were beginning to stir. A low hum filled the air, barely noticeable at first, but then it grew louder, like the sound of a massive engine starting up after years of silence. The ground beneath their feet trembled ever so slightly, as if the planet itself was waking up. One of the lead scientists tapped his console, trying to analyze the signals. This can't be right," he muttered. "These ships, they're powering up, but they shouldn't be able to do that." The lead explorer, standing in front of a massive ancient ship, watched as its lights flickered on, one by one. The ship was huge, almost incomprehensible in its size. Its hull, made of materials the aliens had never seen before, seemed to shimmer as the energy surged through it. And then, just like that, the ship's engines came to life, roaring with power that sent shockwaves through the atmosphere. It was as though the ship had been waiting, dormant for centuries, and now it was ready to move. "What's happening?" another explorer asked, his voice trembling with awe and fear. "We've triggered something," the lead scientist replied, his face pale. "These ships were never meant to be forgotten. They've been waiting for the right moment." As the alien team stood in awe, the other ships began to awaken as well. Each one, scattered across the planet's surface, began to power up. Some of the ships were smaller, others larger, but all of them shared the same incredible energy. The ground trembled harder now, as if a great force was rising from beneath the surface. The silent, abandoned fleet that had been left behind by humanity was now alive, fully powered, and ready to move. The ship's weapon systems began to activate, and powerful lasers crackled to life in the sky. The alien explorers watched as the once dormant fleet now hummed with energy, its weapons locking onto targets in the distance, adjusting to the world around them. The ships were no longer relics. They were powerful machines, ready for battle. "What have we done?" one of the explorers whispered. "It's worse than we thought," the lead scientist said, his voice filled with dread. "This isn't just a fleet. It's a weapon." The Council's ships, still orbiting high above Earth, began to pick up the rising energy levels. The aliens watching from the surface could only imagine what the higher-ups in the Council must be thinking. The fleet they had assumed was just an ancient relic was far from it. It was something more, a warning. Meanwhile, on the surface, the humans who had been hiding for centuries watched with anticipation. They had seen the ships come to life, and now they knew it was time. Time to reveal themselves. The time for hiding was over. Earth's fleet had awakened, and with it, the humans who had kept it safe all these years. The leaders of the human resistance, the descendants of the humans who had once ruled the galaxy, gathered in the command center. They looked at the displays of Earth's fleet, now fully operational and powerful once again. The ships were ready, their weapon systems online, and the humans were ready to take command. "They've found us," one of the leaders said, his voice steady but with a hint of excitement. "The Galactic Council has come, thinking we were gone. But they were wrong." Another leader, a woman, stepped forward, her eyes burning with determination. "It's time they learned what we've been hiding. Earth is not dead. It's not forgotten. And we're not the weak, helpless people they think we are. We are still here, and we will show them our power." The humans knew they had been waiting for this moment. The Council had thought Earth was a forgotten planet, a dead world that no one cared about anymore. But now they would see what Earth had been hiding all these years. The fleet was not a relic. It was not a forgotten memory. It was alive, and it was ready to fight. The humans gave the signal, and the fleet moved into position. Ships took to the skies, their engines roaring with power as they lifted off the ground. The once dead fleet now soared into the sky, its weapon systems tracking the alien ships above. The battle for Earth had begun, and the humans were ready to show the galaxy that they had never truly disappeared. As the first shots were fired, the alien explorers who had been watching stood frozen in disbelief. They had expected to find a dead world, a place with no hope of returning to its former glory. But instead, they had found a planet that was alive with power and ready to fight back. And the galaxy would never forget the moment Earth's fleet woke up. The battle above Earth was unlike anything the Galactic Council had ever witnessed. Ships of all sizes from Earth's hidden fleet had taken to the skies, firing powerful weapons at the Council's exploration ships. The aliens, once so confident in their superiority, were now scrambling to respond. They had no idea what had been hidden beneath the surface of Earth all these centuries, and now they were facing a force they couldn't comprehend. As the battle raged on, the Galactic Council realized that they had severely underestimated the humans. They had thought Earth was a lost world, a dead planet. But now, they were fighting an enemy that seemed to have been waiting for them all along. Earth's fleet was not only fully operational but also more advanced than most of the fleets they had ever encountered. The humans had hidden their true power for centuries. They had watched from the shadows, observing the galaxy as it moved on without them. They had learned to survive, to rebuild, and to prepare for the day when they would need to reclaim their place in the universe. That day had come. The Council's ships, despite their advanced technology, were struggling against the unexpected strength of Earth's fleet. The humans had designed their ships to be fast, agile, and devastatingly powerful. They were equipped with weapons that could disable a ship in seconds and shields that could withstand the most powerful attacks. The Council's ships, despite their advanced technology, were no match for the sheer might of Earth's fleet. But there was more. While the Council's ships were busy battling Earth's fleet, they failed to notice something even more alarming. Hidden deep beneath the surface of Earth, far below the battle, another human force was silently awakening. In a secret underground command center, Far from the chaos above, a group of humans had been waiting for this moment. These were the survivors of the original human race, the ones who had survived the fall of their civilization. They had built a hidden network of underground bases and advanced technology. They had kept their existence a secret, watching the galaxy evolve, waiting for the time when they would be needed. As the battle above Earth escalated, the hidden force below the surface sprang into action. Long-forgotten technologies powered up. Inside the command center, the leaders of the human resistance watched the battle unfold on their screens. They had known this day would come. They had prepared for it, knowing that the Galactic Council would eventually find their planet. But they were ready. They had always been ready. One of the leaders, a woman named Riva, stood in front of the control panel, her hands steady as she watched Earth's forces crush the Council's ships. They never knew what hit them, she said with a smile, a look of determination in her eyes. The galaxy underestimated us. They thought we were gone. They thought we were weak. But they didn't understand the strength we have. They didn't know what we've been building for centuries. Another leader, a man named Kel, stood beside her. His voice was calm, but there was a fire in his eyes. We have waited for this moment. We've hidden our power, our strength. Now it's time to show the galaxy what humans are capable of. Riva nodded. It's not just about fighting back. It's about reclaiming our place. We've spent centuries in the shadows, but now we stand in the light. Now, the galaxy will know that humanity is not gone. We are here, and we will not be forgotten. As the battle raged on above and below Earth's surface, the Galactic Council began to realize the true extent of the humans' power. They had never expected this. They had thought the humans were weak, powerless, but they were wrong. The humans had spent centuries building an army, developing technology, and waiting for the right moment to strike. And now, that moment had arrived. With Earth's fleet and hidden war machines overwhelming the alien forces, the Council's ships began to retreat. They had underestimated the humans, and now they were paying the price. The once mighty Council, known for its control over the galaxy, found itself retreating from a planet that had once been thought lost. The battle was far from over, but the tide had turned. The hidden human force, once thought to be gone forever, had revealed itself, and the galaxy would never forget the moment humanity reclaimed its place among the stars. The Galactic Council was in chaos. What they had thought was a simple mission to explore Earth had quickly turned into a nightmare. The humans, once thought to be extinct, had proven to be anything but. With their powerful fleet and hidden war machines, they had shattered the Council's confidence. The battle was not going in their favor, and they had no idea how to stop the unstoppable. Back on their massive ships, high above Earth, the Council members held emergency meetings. Their usual calm and composed leaders were now visibly shaken. They had faced countless species, conquered whole planets, and quelled rebellions without breaking a sweat. But this was different. The humans had not only survived, they had thrived in ways the Council had never imagined. And now, the Council was facing a force they could not defeat. "We underestimated them," said Supreme Commander Vax, his voice trembling with anger and disbelief. "How could we be so blind? These humans, they're not like anything we've ever seen." A counselor, Xalor, looked out from the observation deck, watching as Earth's fleet continued to destroy their ships. The human fleet, with its superior technology and unexpected strength, had turned the tables. The once confident alien forces now found themselves on the defensive. "We should have known," Xalor muttered. The humans were never truly gone. They must have been waiting, building their strength. They'd been hiding all this time, and now they've shown us what they are capable of. Vax slammed his fist on the table. "Enough talk. We need to act. We can't let them get the upper hand. We must destroy them before they grow even stronger." The Council members nodded, but even as they spoke, doubt crept into their minds. They had been the most powerful force in the galaxy for eons. They had wiped out entire civilizations, crushed rebellions, and ruled with an iron fist. Yet now, they were faced with something they could not comprehend. A species they had underestimated, a force that had been lying in wait. As they debated their next move, a report came in from their fleet. The situation was dire. Earth's fleet was systematically disabling their ships, and the hidden war machines, rising from the planet's surface, were causing massive destruction. The Galactic Council's fleet was in retreat, their once dominant ships falling one by one. "Commander Vax, the human fleet. It's unstoppable," came the voice of a subordinate. "We've lost contact with several of our ships. They're being destroyed by human weapons. They're too advanced." Vax's eyes widened. He had never felt fear before, but now, as the report confirmed his worst fears, he realized that the humans were not just fighting for their planet. They were fighting for their survival. They were no longer a weak species. They had turned their world into a fortress, and their power was growing with each passing moment. "We need reinforcements. We need to call for backup from the other sectors," Vax ordered, his voice urgent. "We cannot lose Earth. If we do, it will be a blow to the entire galaxy." But even as the orders were sent out, the Council members knew that help might not come in time. Earth's fleet was too powerful, its weapons too advanced, and the human war machines, hidden underground for so long, were now in the sky, crushing anything in their path. Zeller spoke, his voice filled with a quiet dread. "I've been reviewing the data, and there's something more troubling. The humans, they're not just fighting us. They're organizing. They're uniting. It's as if they've been preparing for this moment, and now they're using their technology and strength to reclaim their place in the galaxy." Vax nodded, but a sinking feeling weighed heavily on his chest. "We must break their resolve, destroy their fleet, and make them submit. We can't let this rebellion spread." Meanwhile, back on Earth, the humans could sense the fear growing in the Galactic Council. The once feared empire, the ruling force of the galaxy, was struggling to keep its grip on power. And the humans were determined not to let go of their home. The leaders of the human resistance stood in their underground command center, watching the battle unfold. "This is it," said Riva, her eyes locked on the displays of Earth's fleet. "The Council is scared. They thought we were finished, but now they know the truth. We are not just survivors. We are reclaiming our place in the galaxy." Kale, standing beside her, clenched his fists. "We've shown them that we won't back down. And now, they know we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for everything we lost, everything they took from us. This is our chance to make them understand that they can't keep us down." The battle above Earth continued to rage. The Galactic Council's ships were being pushed back, their lines shattered by the unrelenting force of Earth's fleet. And with every passing moment, the Council's fear grew. For the first time in centuries, they were not in control. For the first time in ages, they were losing. As the Galactic Council scrambled to regroup and plan their next move, they realized one thing. Earth was no longer the weak, forgotten planet they had once believed it to be. It was a force to be reckoned with, and the galaxy would soon learn that humanity's power was far greater than anyone had ever imagined. The Council's fear grew as the battle escalated. The tide of war was turning, and the galaxy's rulers were starting to understand the truth. Earth's humans were back, and they would never be silenced again. The battle above Earth had reached a turning point. The Galactic Council's ships were in retreat, their once proud fleet struggling to hold against the overwhelming power of humanity. But as the Council faced defeat, they were left with a burning question. How did the humans come back? For centuries, Earth had been thought of as a dead world, its people wiped out in an ancient disaster. The Galactic Council had believed that humanity was nothing more than a distant memory. But now, with Earth's hidden fleet wreaking havoc, the Council realized they had missed something important. Deep within their command center, the counselors debated furiously. Supreme Commander Vax slammed his fist onto the table. "There's more to this. We need answers. How did they survive all these years? How did they rebuild their fleet? How did they come back stronger than ever? Zalor, the counselor who had spent years studying Earth's history, stood up slowly. His face was pale, his mind racing with thoughts he had never considered before. What if? What if Earth's disappearance wasn't an accident? What if it wasn't a disaster? What if it was something else? Something they planned? The room fell silent. The other counselors turned to him, waiting for him to continue. Think about it, Zalor said. The humans were one of the most advanced species in the galaxy. They had the ability to travel to other worlds, to create advanced technology. And yet, suddenly, they'd vanished. It's too suspicious. There had to be a reason. Vax leaned forward, his expression hardening. What are you suggesting? Zalor's voice grew lower, almost as if he feared what he was about to say. I think they disappeared on purpose. I think Earth wasn't destroyed. It was hidden. The counselors exchanged uneasy glances. If Zalor was right, the humans had been hiding, waiting for the moment when they would rise again. They had planned their disappearance to keep their strength secret, and now, after centuries, they were revealing it to the galaxy. But the question remained, how? How had the humans managed to hide an entire planet, and why hadn't anyone discovered it before? The Council had explored countless systems, mapped the galaxy from one end to the other, but Earth had remained a mystery. Vax turned to his technicians, searched the records, look for anything that might explain how Earth disappeared. Find the answer. Now. The technicians quickly began to work, pulling up ancient data on Earth's history. The records were incomplete, fragmented by time and neglect. But as they searched, they uncovered something unexpected. A single document, hidden deep within the archives, caught their attention. It's a report from a council expedition, one technician said, her voice shaking. It's dated just before Earth's disappearance. It says Earth was not destroyed. It was concealed. The room went cold. Concealed. How could a planet be hidden from the entire galaxy? How could a species manage to erase their own existence from the records? Vax's mind raced. Keep reading. What else does it say? The technician scrolled through the document. It mentions a device, a machine of unimaginable power. It says the humans had created a cloaking technology, something so advanced that it could hide an entire planet from every sensor in the galaxy. The report claims that this machine was used to make Earth invisible, to keep it hidden for centuries. The realization hit Vax like a ton of bricks. The humans hadn't just disappeared. They had made their planet disappear. They had intentionally cloaked their home, keeping it safe from the prying eyes of the galaxy. But why? Zalor asked, his voice filled with disbelief. Why would they do this? Why would they hide away for so long? That's the question we need to answer, Vax said, his mind whirling. If they've been hiding all this time, it means they've been planning something. They've been waiting for the right moment. Meanwhile, on Earth, Riva and Kale watched the reports from the battle above. The hidden fleet was still pushing back the Council's ships, but Riva could see the worry in Kal's eyes. Something was off. The Council was growing desperate. They were not just fighting to protect their control. They were fighting to uncover the truth behind Earth's disappearance. They found out, Riva said softly, her voice steady but filled with concern. They know we didn't just vanish. They know we hid ourselves. Kale nodded grimly. And now they're searching for answers. They want to know why we disappeared, how we did it, and what we've been planning all these years. Riva clenched her fists. It doesn't matter. We've waited long enough. They should have never underestimated us. Now they'll learn the truth. The humans didn't just survive. They've been preparing for this moment. And the galaxy is about to feel the full force of our return. As the battle continued above, the Galactic Council realized that the humans were not just a powerful species. They were a species with a plan that stretched over centuries. And now, with their planet revealed and their strength unleashed, the Council knew they had made a grave mistake. They had awoken a sleeping giant, and there was no going back. The humans were no longer hiding. They were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting for their place in the galaxy, a place they had once held. And the Galactic Council was about to find out that Earth's disappearance had been no accident. It had been the beginning of a long-awaited return. The battle above Earth had reached its final stage. The Galactic Council's fleet, once so powerful, was now in full retreat. The humans, with their hidden strength, had proven to be more than the Council ever imagined. As the Council scrambled to save what was left of their forces, they could not ignore the truth. Earth had returned, and with it, the full force of humanity's legacy. Back on Earth, Riva and Kale watched as their ships tore through the sky. Earth's fleet, once hidden beneath the surface, was now fully active, and it was a sight that filled the hearts of humans everywhere with pride. The battle for Earth was not just about saving their planet. It was about reclaiming their place in the galaxy. It was about showing the universe that humanity was not just a forgotten species. They were back, and they would not be ignored. "We've come so far," Riga whispered, staring at the screens that showed Earth's fleet moving in perfect formation. "But this is just the beginning. We're not just fighting for survival. We're fighting for our legacy." Kale nodded, his eyes burning with determination. "Our ancestors left us a great gift. They knew that one day we would need to rise again. And now, the galaxy will know the truth. Earth is not just a planet. It's the birthplace of a force unlike anything they've ever seen." Above them, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, as if they too recognized the truth of Earth's return. The legacy of humanity was not just in their advanced technology or their hidden fleet. It was in the strength of their spirit, the will to survive, and the drive to never back down. The Galactic Council had underestimated them, but they would soon learn what it meant to face the full might of humanity. On the Council's flagship, Supreme Commander Vax stared at the monitors, his heart sinking as the situation worsened. The human fleet was overwhelming them. It was clear now that they had been wrong to think the humans were gone forever. Earth's fleet was far more advanced than anything the Council had imagined. Their ships were faster, their weapons more powerful, and their tactics flawless. "This is impossible," Vax muttered under his breath. "How did they do this? How did they hide all of this for so long?" Zilur, standing beside him, was equally stunned. "We should have known. Earth wasn't just some backwater planet. It was the cradle of one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. Their disappearance, it wasn't an accident. It was a plan." As the Council's ships continued to fall, Vax turned to his officers. "We can't retreat any longer. We must face them head-on. We must fight with everything we have, or Earth's legacy will be our undoing." But even as he spoke, doubt clouded his mind. The truth was clear. The humans had returned, and there was nothing the Council could do to stop them. It was too late to turn back. On Earth, the battle raged on, but Riva knew that the turning point had arrived. The Galactic Council had underestimated humanity for too long, but now they had no choice but to face the truth. The human legacy was not one of weakness or defeat. It was one of strength, resilience, and innovation. "We've done it," Riva said, her voice filled with quiet pride. "We've shown them who we are. Now the galaxy will understand." Kale stood beside her, his eyes locked on the sky. "This isn't just about Earth. It's about every planet, every species that has ever been oppressed or forgotten. We fought for our future, and now we'll fight for the future of every world that has been silenced." As the last of the Council's ships fell, the humans began to take their place in the stars once more. Earth's legacy had been restored. The people of Earth had proven to the galaxy that they were not a species to be overlooked. They were the descendants of a great civilization, and they had returned to reclaim their rightful place in the universe. The Galactic Council, once the undisputed rulers of the galaxy, were left in shock and disbelief. The humans had risen from the ashes of their past, and now their power was too great to ignore. Earth's fleet had destroyed their forces, and now the galaxy would be forced to recognize humanity's place. Riva stood tall, watching as Earth's ships continued their advance, knowing that this victory was just the beginning. The return of Earth's legacy would change everything. Humanity's future had just begun, and they would never again allow themselves to be forgotten. "We've reclaimed our place in the galaxy," Kale said, his voice strong. "Now we will make sure the galaxy never forgets who we are." The stars above Earth seemed to shine a little brighter, as if they too were welcoming humanity back. And for the first time in centuries, the universe knew the truth. Earth's legacy had not been erased. It had only been waiting, ready to rise once more.